Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Mahogany Circle of Hope show. My name is Ameedah Hasan, and I am one of the co hosts of our show. My other co host is Gloria Bryant. Gloria, would you like to say good morning?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being on our show. Hope you enjoy it.
And also, we have one of our board members, Lois Johnson. Would you like to say good morning?
Yes, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here to listen to Matt.
Thank you. And Matt, would you like to say good morning before we get started?
Good morning, everyone, and thanks so much for inviting me here today.
Thank you,
Thank
Matt.
you.
And first, I will share with us, the audience, our mission statement and our disclaimer. The Mahogany Circle of Hope show, our mission is to uplift, inform, empower cancer survivors as they navigate life beyond their diagnosis. We create a safe and inspiring space where stories of resilience meet expert guidance on healing, physically and emotionally, and spiritually. Through heartfelt conversations, practical wellness strategies, and a community first approach, we aim to support survivors in reclaiming their vitality, rediscovering joy, and thriving in their chapter of life. We are also dedicated to information and resources to promote healthy communities with different topics and guests on our show. So today we are happy to have one of our colleagues and our friend, Matthew Santelli from Pierce County ADRC Senior and Disability Resource Program. Welcome, 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 Matthew.
Thank you.
Also, I would like to put our disclaimer out. If we share any medical information, be sure to always speak to your health provider or check with them before applying that in your care plan. So we'll go ahead and get started. We're excited. We see Matt out in the community. Anytime we at a resource fair, he's right there. He's on the job. And we've gone to his senior luncheon at the Star Center and he welcomed us. He's such a great host and he always has information for us. So we are really glad to have Matthew Santelli here with us. So we'll go ahead and get started with our interview. Gloria, you want to get us started?
Yeah, so we're just going to jump right into it. We have a lot of information that we want to be able to ask Matt, and we're just going to get right into it. Matt, can you start out by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely, and thanks again for inviting me today. So, I work at the Pierce County Aging and Disability Resource Services. We are a division of Pierce County Human Services. And for the last 5 years, my job has been involved with community education and outreach, such as we're doing today, getting the information out in the community about the programs and services that we offer that are all designed to keep our senior and disabled adult population here in Pierce County healthy, safe, and financially stable at home as long as possible. Prior to doing this particular line of work at the county, I was a direct service case manager in our intake team. So, what that meant is if a call came in on the line and it was a senior or disabled adult that needed some guidance on how to navigate Medicare, how to get set up with in home care services, maybe they needed transportation services to doctor's appointments. Maybe they needed home delivered meals. They might need some energy assistance help on their yearly energy bill. Whatever they might need, we would assign someone like me to go out and meet with them in their home, out in their community, and kind of take a look at everything going on with them. Because oftentimes a client would call and say, well, I'm short on my budget, didn't make my rent. And typically that might mean, sure, there's a shortage there, but it also might mean they're not maximizing all the benefits available to them. And that was my job in that capacity. So I worked at the county for 23 years doing that type of work. Prior to that, I had worked mostly in mental health services. I started out working in a group home in Auburn and then moved on from there doing more crisis intervention work. I did some placement coordinating work where I would visit Western State Hospital and other mental health inpatient units to kind of assess if people were ready to return to the community with the support that our agency provided. I've done some children and family counseling, did some foster care social work. I've done some care management for folks that needed mental health and chemical dependency services that were in the active work world and were commercially insured. So I've done a variety of different things, although I think this is kind of my last stop on my career since I've been there 23 years and I'm 60 years old now. So I'll probably be finishing out my career here. Some of the side work I did over the years, I did become a licensed mental health counselor here in the state of Washington. And doing that, I was able to have a short-term side gig working for the University of Phoenix. I actually did night classes on general psychology for adult learners returning to get their bachelor's degrees. And then within my county designation, I'm also a certified information and referral specialist for seniors and disabled adults as well. So I keep those certifications alive. Just should I decide to branch off at a
Let the
later
door
time
slam.
and do some
Mm-hmm.
counseling.
Let
But
the door
did,
slam.
did the counseling, did the teaching. I really feel like the county work is probably the most fulfilling work I have that I've done. I'm married for 33 years now. Got one son who actually lives in Switzerland. He just visited us for a week. That was a real treat. And we're hoping to go visit him in the summer there in Switzerland. He lives in Zurich. He married a Swiss woman. They've got a daughter. They've got a lot of family there on her side that support him, but it's always a treat when he has a chance to visit us here. So I'm just so thrilled to be here today and share with you and your listeners all the programs and services we have available that might impact their lives, might impact a family member, a friend, or even a neighbor who might be in need of some help.
Thank
Absolutely.
you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Matt. Um, what, how did you get interested in being able to deal with the elderly and the family, the disabled people? What directed you in that area?
That's a great question. I had kind of bounced around for a while and were finding other jobs, none of them that really kind of fit where I was in life at the time. I started this job when I was 37 years old working for the county. And at that time, my son had moved on from high school. He was at university up at Western Washington University, and my own parents were aging. And so kind of as if we look at developmental stages and as an adult, it was kind of that time for me to move into that role of thinking more about our senior population, our disabled adult population, and kind of finding a pathway there where I could use my expertise to think about their needs and not only the direct service way we could meet their needs, but program development too to meet their needs. And so um, I really love engaging seniors that are faced with really complex medical conditions as they've gotten older. Some of them, unfortunately, weren't able to adequately prepare for their aging life, and sometimes they're financially struggling, or they're living in housing that doesn't really meet their needs, or they're just overwhelmed by the complexity of systems. I think all of us, as we get older, realize that we really aren't keeping up with modern world technology and things like
Right.
that. I know I've experienced that. And so when you tell a senior, well, just go on Medicare.gov and all the answers will be there, many of them are like, I
Mm-hmm.
don't even have a computer, let alone know what Medicare.gov is, let alone know how to
Yep.
get there. And so having that knowledge of systems and helping them to navigate where all of a sudden a benefit program is open to them that they had no idea they could even find, let alone access, that's really fulfilling to me. And it's amazing that senior and disabled adult population, they're so welcoming when you tell them you're here to kind of share with them some solutions to the problems they're facing. They express so much gratitude, which is really wonderful when you can attach them to a benefit that might completely kind of transform their daily life or the lifestyle they've had to adopt when they're struggling. It's really a fulfilling position. And I know all you ladies on the call understand what I'm talking about when you can find that person that little bit of additional help that they were looking for and how it can really make a difference for them. And to hear from them, thank you. It's been such a gratitude feeling from them. And then they might say, I've got a neighbor that needs help too. and then being able to attach that next person in line to the help they need. It's a really fulfilling position, and that's why I really enjoyed it and why I've stayed here at the county so long.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
thank you.
And that kind of leads me into the next uh, question. Can you describe one scenario where you help to navigate somebody,
Yeah,
one
great.
issue that they might have? For an
Absolutely.
example.
Absolutely, Ameedah. This is a great question. I have one that really stands out for me. So, part of the job I have is getting out to the senior centers and providing presentations on topics of interest. And Mountain View Community Center, which is in Edgewood, they actually have a program where each week they do a dinner time gathering of their seniors and other people in the community, which is really rare because the senior centers generally work daytime hours. So I found out about this. So I offered to do a presentation there. I did one on understanding diabetes. My wife is type 1 diabetic since she was a little girl. And after the event was over, the gentleman said, can you tell me a little bit more about what you guys do? I had an information table there, and I was telling him about the Medicare savings program that can help pay his Part B premium, basic food benefits, and all this. And I could tell he was very suspicious, like, is this true? Are you really going to help me? So I said, hey, let me just call you. Give me your phone number. I called him that Monday. He was shocked that I actually followed up and called him. And I said, hey, I just need a little bit of information. Let's at least do an application. I can do it electronically for you. You don't need to talk to anyone. We'll just put in the information. Boom, a week later, approved for the Medicare savings program. That was an extra $200 a month in his check. Boom,
Oh,
basic
wow.
food, $50 basic food every month coming into him. So just that engagement, just an engagement of another topic where just talking to people in a setting where they're gathering and piquing someone's interest who didn't even realize how much struggle they were having because his monthly Social Security was only $1,200 a month, and he was losing $200 a month for his Medicare premium, another
Right.
$50 a month he didn't even know he could get for basic food. So just that little intervention increased his monthly budget by like 20%. So stuff
Hmm.
like that's really gratifying because it's like, here's a guy that wasn't quite sure, didn't really trust government guys like me, but was willing to take a chance and transformative for his life. Really fulfilling.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I know that was helpful. You have
Yeah.
a lot of us seniors that are limited. You're right, and they take that for your Medicare out, and then you left with nothing really to function. So it's good to know that somebody can help navigate through that.
Yeah.
So, Gloria,
And my next question is, what community-based resources are available in Pierce County?
So great question because our philosophy is one of what's known as aging in place. So we're always
hmm
trying to think of what services can we deliver to our seniors and disabled adults in their current situations. I think many seniors, when they think about services, are thinking, oh, all I can think about is going into a nursing home or some care facility. That's
hmm
where I'll get the help I need. And our role is really to project services to support them into their current housing situations. And so, if a senior were to contact us, we would think about all kinds of things right off the bat, like I mentioned. How do we help their financial situation? Can we do Medicare savings program? Can we add basic food? We can't add dollars to their situation, unfortunately. At best, we can hope their Social Security is coming in and we can make sure that isn't interrupted. But we try to add benefits in lieu of dollars. Energy assistance is another thing we can often set up for folks, whether they're in city of Tacoma or outside city of Tacoma. And then we also think about attaching them to local services where they leave their houses more often. One of the things we're finding is the danger of social isolation. And the
hmm
recommendations really to get past that is just to leave your house on a regular basis. And I know this is
hmm
hard for a lot of seniors because they don't have transportation, they're leery of meeting new people, but we have a wonderful network of senior centers all across the county that provide lunchtime meals, that provide good information on topics of interest, that provide activities. So we really encourage them to get out and do those things as well. And then
And
ultimately, too, if they're limited, we can do home care for them as well if they need it in the home on certain eligibilities. So
that Mary had a question in the chat. What documentation do you need for these senior benefits?
great question. So typically, Most of our programs lean in the direction of 60 and over for eligibility. Not all of them. Sometimes you'll find 62, sometimes you'll find 55. Typically, we just need some verification of who they are, where they're living, some sort of identification. Social Security, fortunately, we can usually identify that electronically when we're applying for benefits for folks through Department of Social and Health Services. So typically, they don't even have to produce an award letter for that. And then many times it's just self-report, like for home delivered meals from Catholic Community Services. Those are free as long as the person is 60 and over, no longer driving, and doesn't have a paid caregiver. Other times we will need verification, at least of something showing their monthly income. So sometimes it's 1 month of a bank statement. Sometimes it's the end of the year Social Security or pension statement. But thankfully, the documentation requirements for most seniors has actually been reduced over the years. I'll go back to that Medicare Savings Program as an example, and basic food. They don't have an asset test for those programs anymore, meaning we don't have to show if they have money in the bank. That used to be a huge obstacle because even a few $1,000s would disqualify a person for those programs back in the day. And that's actually gone away. Property tax exemption is another one that's just limited based on their income. We don't have to do an asset test for them. So again, this is a shock to a lot of seniors and disabled
Yeah, it
adults who talk
is.
with us and say, oh my gosh, you're going to want me to show
Right.
every penny of things. I'm going to have to inventory my belongings at home, all these terrifying consequences. Like, no, 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 no. We just most of the time just need income. Not all the time, most of the time just verifying income and an address where you're living.
Okay, and back to you said the community centers in the city.
Yeah.
Do you have a listing for the different community centers? I know I think People Center has a senior program on the
Yes.
hilltop. So
Yes.
what other centers are there? And you're
So if
saying that they provide free meals on certain days and stuff?
Absolutely. So I believe there's 25 that we help fund for operations. The complete list can be found on our website at
Okay.
www.pierce80rc.org. I'll talk about that again when we close out. But yes, typically, again, the rule is 60 and over. Any resident of Pierce County can attend the senior centers that are close to them geographically. Right here in Tacoma, People's Community Center on MLK Way, they have a senior hub operating from Parks Tacoma that includes a lunchtime meal that's free.
Mm,
Eastside Community Center also has
okay.
a senior meal. Point Defiance Ruston Senior Center. There's one at Mid County Senior Center off of 104th and Canyon Road. Puyallup, Sumner. There's one over in Gig Harbor. There's one out in Long Branch. There's one in Eatonville. So
What
we have
about Fircrest?
Fircrest has a senior club, so I think the closest meal site is actually in University Place. I don't think they do a meal site at Fircrest. So all the
Okay.
details are on the website where you can find out. And again, it's 60 and over. If you can throw a couple of dollars in as a donation, you're welcome to, but you're not required to. If you're younger than 60 and go in, and typically they do charge you a minimal fee, like $5 for the lunchtime meal. Some of the centers have their own cooks preparing the meals. Others, we finance Catholic Community Services to have a paid cook to go out and prepare the meals. But they're all nutritionally balanced. I've eaten meals at all 25 senior meal sites over the years, and all really good quality, hot food, great selection, nutritionally balanced, but always really tasty food. So I would
Mm,
encourage seniors again. The trouble we run into is that a 60-year-old eating lunch is a different person than a 90-year-old eating lunch. And so
yep.
sometimes there's these generational clashes that go on in the
I can
senior centers.
imagine.
And it's tough to find program that keeps that 60-year-old coming in versus the 90-year-old coming in. But,
Yep.
that's just the reality as we get older. Senior can mean a lot of different things and can span decades sometimes.
That's
Yeah.
true. That's very true. Now, the how often that would be determined by each senior center on how often they have the midday lunch.
Exactly. Some we have running Monday through Friday. Some are just a couple of days a week, sometimes 3 days a week. It's just a matter of how much of their own operational staff they can get in there
Mhm.
and what their particular grant is, what we're financing for the lunchtime meals. So I think People's in East Side right here in Tacoma are running Monday through Friday lunches, I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
really?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
this was really good news. Yeah.
That
Great
is
people there at
great.
both ones. I've been at both of them this last week and just great people there to hang out with and spend time with, both on the staff side and the people attending as well.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have this question, Matt. It's always, I don't really understand long-term care. Um, do Medicare pay for that, or do you have to have a supplemental? Or what is the long-term care myth?
Great question. So typically long-term care is anytime you're needing support, either in a home setting or in a care facility setting for activities of daily living. So it's not just, well, I need someone to come in and clean my kitchen kind of thing. It's like, okay, I need someone to physically help me to shower each week or at least stand by. So I'm in a safe situation doing that to help get me up out of bed into my wheelchair, to help set up my medications. So there has to be something significant where there's at least 2 or 3 activities of daily living involved that need help. Unfortunately, Medicare, as most of us are eligible as we get older, does not have long-term care included. And people get mixed up on this because it does
Mm-hmm.
include a home health benefit, which is time limited, typically post illness or injury. But for folks who regularly need care because they've got a chronic condition or it's just old age kind of taking over their situation, that in those cases you jump to, if you were lucky enough to have a long-term care insurance policy, or
Mm.
if you qualify on the Medicaid side. So a lot of work that we do is qualifying people for Medicaid in-home care over a long period of time. That means they have a caregiver from an agency coming in to provide support to them, or sometimes it can even be a family member who's gone through training and is getting paid to provide support to that person. The Medicaid process on the caregiver side, thankfully, has higher income limits than just walking around Medicaid does. Because walking around Medicaid, if you're already on Medicare as a senior or disabled adult, the income eligibility is very low. It's like $1,100 a month. But if you jump into the situation where you need care in a setting at home or in a care facility, the income eligibility jumps dramatically. Like for in-home care for a single person
Sure.
on our COPES Medicaid program, that income eligibility is like right around $2,900 a month. So it's substantially higher. So most folks don't know that. Unfortunately,
Right.
the asset test is what trips people up because it's still $2,000 is the asset test for a single person. Much higher if you're a married couple. It jumps to like $72,000 in shared assets. And again, we
Oh, boy.
remind people the belongings in your home don't count. The home in which you reside does not count either in terms of being eligible for support in the home. Gets a little trickier if you're jumping to a care facility because then there is an expectation that you're going to need to sell your home to finance your care at some point, unless the spouse is still living there or a disabled adult child is living there. I always recommend if you have questions like that about Medicaid, any of the folks listening, please call us. We'll have the phone number listed here at the end of the presentation because there's a lot of confusion, a lot of mythology about what it means to be on Medicaid. We want to clear that up for you and be your guide to help you apply.
Absolutely, because that's what I've heard, that you got to sell your house if you have
Yeah.
to go into a long-term care. And that can be an issue for a lot of people. So I'm glad you cleared that up. I had
Yes.
another question. Does Sheba still exist, the
It does.
program?
The state health insurance benefits advisors, we partner
Mm.
with them very closely, primarily for folks needing Medicare guidance during open enrollment in the fall.
Oh, okay.
Sound Outreach is our local partner where they actually work on setting up their volunteer services to help people with Medicare questions. That's a free service. Anybody can activate that if they choose. You can look up SHIBA Washington online. It'll give you the phone number or the email address, or you can contact Sound Outreach directly for that Medicare guidance.
Okay. Good question, Gloria. Yeah, that, because we all get confused on that one, and we need clarity because we never know. We
Absolutely.
might fall or something, and then they might say you need to be in there 6 weeks. You're not gonna be at your house, but you're gonna
That's right.
go to the nursing home And then that's the first thing you think about. Well, who's gonna pay for this? I mean, so that is a concern.
It's a
Thanks
great
for,
question. Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah.
long-term care, whether you're paying for it in your home or you're paying for it in a care facility, as we know, is incredibly expensive, even more expensive here in the state of Washington than some other states. So please call us so we can do some planning on that for you.
I'm curious, can you quote what the going rate is for long-term care
So
daily?
So if you were to hire an agency that's licensed, bonded, and insured to have someone come in and help you with activities of daily living, anymore, you're probably paying $50 an hour, 50 an hour for that help. And
Wow,
normally they're going to want a minimum of probably 10
4
hours a
hours.
month at least that you're paying them. And that's not a lot, 10 hours a month if you need a lot of heavy care at home. If you're going into, say, the first step, which would be assisted living, you could easily be paying $200 a day or more just for the basic level of service for assisted
Wow.
living. If you're talking memory care, it's probably jumping to $300 a day or more. If you're jumping to adult family home, it might be $400 a day. Skilled nursing might be $500 a day. It's crazy expensive.
Yeah, it
Wow.
Crazy.
is.
Wow. Mm, wow. That that gives
So
you a lot to think about.
I know, Matt, I have another question, and I hope this is not off the grid a little bit, but this has to do with housing,
Yes.
Mhm.
senior housing. There always is, I hear there's resources out there for seniors to get into housing, but my question is how? I
So
have a
great.
friend that's been in and out of the hospital for the last 6 months. He don't have a stable place to live because when he gets out of the hospital, he's in a rehab. And then before he can get well from that, he's back in the hospital again. So it's just been back and forth, and he don't have a stable home to live in. How do he get a stable place? And I don't know. I don't understand the system, and I don't know who the person is to go to that can help me understand, so I can help this person. 77 years old, you shouldn't be homeless, and your health's not that great, and you don't have a place to live. And he
It's
has an income.
Yeah, it's a great question. Many of the apartment buildings we see going up around Pierce County have some set aside units for folks that are senior or disabled adults on a limited income. So there's been an additional percentage increase on our sales taxes in Pierce County to fund those with additional grants. So the county's been in control of a lot of those buildings going up. We partnered with known housing entities like Korean Women's Association. They put up a new building down there on Tacoma
Mhm.
Avenue. So I would always recommend that you folks and people that you're close to, people listening, to call our main line, the 253-798-4600, where we can direct them on the pathways to go to find if they're eligible to go into those units. There's not enough set aside to meet the demand, and it's frustrating to me because the senior solution for housing are ones where the rents are based on their income, and typically 30% of income going to their rent and a subsidy from the government or some charitable organization paying the remainder of the rent. That's the conundrum because we have seniors that over the last few years are being priced out of the places where they can live. Think of something like the mobile home parks around the county. A lot of them have shut down. Back in the day, that was the greatest, best deal going. If you could muster a few $1,000s, buy even a cheap trailer, park it on a space. Those spaces were affordable for years when I did this job, $300-400 a month. All of a sudden, I hear from seniors, it's $1,200 a month for my space, $1,300 a month. And
Mm,
the same goes true for the shabbiest apartments around the county. There's such a demand that people lived for years, $500-600 a month rent. All of a sudden, it's $1,300-1,400 a month.
mhm.
Then the property management companies on top of that typically want maybe 2.5, 3 times the rent as established income. And sometimes they want first, last, and a deposit. So
Yeah.
the fees involved with getting into an apartment, let alone the screening, can be incredibly difficult for anything that's
Outrageous.
considered a market rate apartment. So please give us a call about that gentleman. We'll see what avenues we might have to help them, especially because if he's in and out of care facilities, one of the good things the state does sponsor is something known as Roads to Community Living, which is folks who are in and out of skilled nursing where they typically can find a pathway to help them get that hurdle of first, last month's rent, finding a subsidy apartment. And there's pretty strict eligibility. Normally it's someone who's in and out of a skilled nursing facility regularly, who's known as kind of a high utilizer of services, where there's a pathway for them to get a place to live.
Okay.
Can I
Thank
ask you,
you.
you said Roads to Community Living is the name of that program.
Absolutely, yeah. Roads
Okay.
to Community Living. And again,
Okay, thank
most care facilities, social workers that handle admissions and discharge should know something about that.
right.
They should, but it's not
Oh,
always the case, unfortunately.
I
So,
know not to badmouth either the social workers, but it seemed like maybe they're so stretched to the limit. What they look at these people as not, they don't really have the time to investigate and do the resources for them.
yeah,
Because this man it's no reason why he should be without a stable home and the condition he's in. It's
precisely.
just, yeah, I'm a little frustrated with it. It's just a friend, but it's just like I've been bumping my head up against walls trying to help him because I don't really know now where to go. It's just like,
Absolutely. It's a
where?
Yeah, I know I certainly share your frustration. I mean, one of the most frustrating things that I deal with out in the community are questions about housing, what's happening with housing. I wish, and again, I'm an advocate for seniors and disabled adult. I wish there was more emphasis on finding solutions for that group because all of us know on the call that saying someone's unhoused or homeless means a lot of different things, right? There's a lot of
Yeah,
population that goes in there. But to me, anybody over 60 years old that we're not providing adequate housing to, I think that's a special case. And again, that's just
yeah,
from my own
yep.
point of advocacy. But that's a person whose income's not going to increase, whose situation and lifestyle is not going to change. And we really need to help those people have a roof over their heads that's stable over time.
Thank you,
thank
Matt.
you,
We might have
Matt.
to do part two with you. Mary just said we had 10 minutes, so
Okay,
That went
perfect.
so quick.
we're gonna move
Sorry if I
along.
took up most of that time, but
But it's a topic that we're all in that genre now ourselves. And so it
Absolutely.
is a concern, and we don't know it all the resources that are out there. And that's why we value you being here. And Gloria is doing advocacy for her friend, and that's what it's all
Absolutely.
about.
It is. It
I'm going
is.
to move to one other question,
Okay.
and then we'll try to wrap it up because Lois needs to do her health tip for the month. Um, I wanted to ask, how do you build trust with clients from diverse backgrounds? And I know that's probably challenging.
Absolutely, it is because I'm an old white guy when I'm out there.
What a
but
good heart! What a good heart!
but thankfully, I have wonderful professional partners like all of you ladies here that go combine to do this work and to combine to do the outreach along with me for Mahogany Circle of Mahogany
oh,
Circle and the work that you guys do. And you've connected me with other partners that serve more diverse communities than I can always reach. We partner with Korean Women's Association. They're a big
Mhm.
professional partner where we do events with them and activities. We are fortunate at the county. We have our own employee resource group. They've put together a Black History Month event that we're doing tomorrow at our new building, which is going to be the old Regents building downtown. We're moving to that building here this spring at 1501
Is that
Market.
right? Oh,
Here we are.
okay.
We'll be right downtown. And then we're fortunate at the county in our division. We've got dozens of people from all over the world that work at the county, immigrants from every nation. We have so many diverse languages that they speak, the whole gamut from Ukrainian to Russian to Cambodian to Thai. it's really fortunate that we have such a diverse group. And so whenever I'm doing a specialty kind of outreach at a situation where the community doesn't look like me as much, I'm happy to bring along someone from the county that can be out there and connect in a way that's more meaningful than sometimes I can achieve. And I'm very humble about knowing I'm not perfect in every situation. So when I can bring people along like that, but I think fundamentally we're all human, right? We all have
Right.
needs. And I think
Absolutely.
we all connect on that level where I can help
Absolutely.
you. I'm going to help you without judgment or any kind of bias because we're all human and we want to help, hopefully help each other thrive as we get older.
Absolutely. That's what community is.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. We'll have to have you come back again. You have so much information. Ladies, Lois, did you have any questions for Matt? Gloria?
No, I think he answered pretty much everything. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate you so much.
We
Thank
sure
you.
do. Yeah, yeah. And also, Matt, give us your information, contact information, or the website again. Can you say it twice for us, please?
absolutely. So the website is www.pierce, as in Pierce County, pierceadrc.org. That's our website. You'll find resources A to Z. You'll kind of all kinds of event information that's upcoming. And then our phone number again, 253-798-4600. And I always want to remind people that we have live uh, staff answering those calls. We answer
Mhm.
within a couple of minutes in most cases. So feel free to stay on the line rather than leaving a message. It's not a 2 hour wait like you'll get with DSHS or Social Security. It's going to be a 2 minute wait. So please stay on the line. We still have too many abandoned calls because people catch the hold and they think I'm going to be on this hold forever. And that's not the case. So I encourage people to call that number. Any question you have about senior disabled adult services.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. Lois, you want to
Good.
go ahead and do your health tip for the month?
Yes, I quickly do that do that. Basically, what I have real quickly is essential text for diabetic, checkups. And the reason why I'm just quickly going over this is because sometimes we're diabetic and we go to our appointments and we don't even ask questions about the lab that is being run on us. So for those that are diabetic and even those that you know that are family members that are diabetic, we need to make sure you have your hemoglobin, which is your A1C, and
Mhm.
that measures the average of blood glucose over 2 to 3 months. Sometimes some people let it linger for six months to a year, which is not good. So make sure that your doctor, when you go, that they run that test for you. And a lipid panel is also another one dealing with your good and your bad cholesterol, which is very important. Kidney function is another one in being diabetic
Mhm.
to see what your level is. Because what that actually, going to tell you is that if you have damage to your kidney, whether you're stage 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever, and your urine also with creatinine is another thing that you need to make sure your urine analysis is done. And then basically, uh, a yearly eye examination because things can happen being diabetic. You can actually end up losing your eyesight. And also another thing is your examination should be done yearly. But if you go in every 3 to 4 months, make sure you have your doctor examine your feet. So these are just basic things
Absolutely. Yeah.
as a reminder that we need to be, as like I said, Gloria said for praying, like advocate for yourself. And also make sure your doctor tell you what those tests mean. What does this mean for me? And what can you do for me? So just remember those things, advocate for yourself, be diligent and making sure you talk to your doctor, have your notes written down for him so you don't forget. Because a lot of times we go in there, come
Oh,
out
yeah.
like,
Hmm.
whoa, I didn't even mention that. So anyway, so make sure you take care of yourself.
All
Thank
right.
you,
Thank
Lois.
you,
That was
Lois.
great. Great information. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Mhm.
We want to say thank you to Matt Santelli
Yeah.
for all the great information he had for senior and disability. Wow. We're going to have to do part two, Matt. We are.
I'd be happy to come back anytime.
Do part two. But thank you. Kudos to you for being our friend and guiding us in this area of senior living. and anything else that needed to make us have a very successful senior life. So we thank you again, Matt Santelli, for being our guest. Gloria, my other host, did she want to say anything before we sign off?
I just want to thank everybody that was on here. I thank you, Matt. As always, we love you and we thank you for being our friend and our partner. And whenever there's questions, we could ask you and you answer them. So we thank you for that. We thank you, Lois, for all the information that you
Yes.
gave us about diabetes and any other questions we might have along the way. We always know we can call and ask you, and if you
Yep.
don't know it, you will find out the information and give it to us. So we
Yep.
thank you, Lois. Thank
We
you,
do.
Amita, for all you do.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mary. Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
Mary. So we're going to sound off, everybody. Have a great day today. Thank you for the wonderful information. Thank you, Lois, also. And stay healthy, stay informed. And you have been listening to the Mahogany Circle of Hope show. And have a great, great afternoon.
Thank you. Bye now.
Bye.